Welcome to another training by Mentoring You. We're going to focus in this training on building your roadmap to take your business from where you are now to where you want it to be. So where are you now? Take a minute and think honestly about where you are in your business life, your personal life, just where you are in general. Are you happy with where you are? Is your business on track, or are there places that you really want to take it and you're struggling a little bit? We run the gamut of emotions as entrepreneurs. We can feel everything from excitement at the thought of a new idea to incredibly motivated when we're getting started, down to frustration and even anger at the time we spend on our business when it's not giving us the return that we want. More than anything else, entrepreneurs become emotionally connected to their businesses. Many times we are starting these because you're pursuing a passion of yours. It's not just a 9-to-5, punch a time clock and take home a paycheck. There is a true emotional connection that is important to recognize and include when you're thinking about how you want to deal with building your business. And I'm a big proponent and a big fan of thinking about your business strategically, that this isn't something that just organically happened. And there are those cases out there where somebody had an idea and just kind of fell into an entrepreneurial role. But most people who are dedicated entrepreneurs and truly trying to build a business, it is a strategic focus to take steps to build that business, take steps to market it, and to really grow it to a place where you can consider it a success. So thinking about how your business really makes you feel is important. We want to make sure that you are intentionally working towards your goal. And that's the whole point of this roadmap training, is really to look at this just like if you were going on a road trip and you were starting from point A and you want to get to point B, and how do you get there? And what happens if there's detours and road bumps along the way? You still need to stay on track and hit your final destination point. And we do that by intentionally focusing on actions and tasks that are going to lead us in the right direction. So before we can figure out what we need to do along the way, we need to decide where our destination point really is. Where do you want to be? What defines success for you as it relates to your business? And this can vary so much by individual. Some people might be pursuing financial success, where there's a number on the bottom line that they really need to meet. They're trying to leave a 9-to-5 and move into a completely entrepreneurial role, and there's a number associated with that needs to happen. For other people, pursuing entrepreneurial work might be work-life balance. Maybe they've got kids at home and a traveling spouse, and they're really trying to figure out a way to just make life work with some work-life balance. And so for them, there may be more of a focus on how their time is being spent versus how much money. And we know there's always a financial bottom line, but success might be defined a little bit differently for them. Some people just really don't want to work for other people. They want to be their own boss. They want to be able to choose the directions that they're headed and be able to make those decisions. So literally just being in a place where they answer to no one but themselves might be how they define success. And there is 1,000 other ways that this could be defined, but taking a minute to decide what it means to you. If you were being interviewed 15 years from now and someone asked you, how did you know when you had made it? At what point were you sure that you were successful? The sentence that you would give them, the point that you would give them, that's what we're looking for right now. If you would say, I knew that I had made it when I could take a month off in the summer and go traveling with my family and have absolutely no concerns that my business was on autopilot, then that tells you where you want to be in order to define your success. If your answer to that question is something more along the lines of, when I've made my first million and I knew I didn't have to worry about making rent or making payments, and it was, I knew that I was successful because I had that money in the bank and I was financially comfortable for the first time in my life, then that's a success point that you need to really note down for yourself. You need to figure out this success statement. As I work with more and more entrepreneurs, so many times this roadmap idea, this concept of how do I get from where I am to where I want to be, is twisty and has lots of detours and road bumps in it because they haven't defined what success meant. It feels so far away that they haven't spent the time to figure out what that really would mean to them. So take a few minutes, pause the training, grab a sheet of paper, grab your journal. Maybe you know it right off the bat, but really figure out your success statement. If you had to say in one sentence what success meant to you, what defined your success, what would it be? And then from there, we really want to make a plan. I mean, we need to back out that success statement and figure out how we get from where you are right now to where you want to be. So those emotions that we were talking about, we want to take the pain points, the frustrating emotions that are holding you back and figure out where you would rather be. If you're frustrated right now, what's going to make you excited? If you're overwhelmed, what's going to make you feel prepared? If you're feeling stuck, what's going to take that to feeling motivated? How do we turn it on its head so that you're in a good place where you feel like you're moving your business forward? And once we get there, as we start to figure out our tasks and build our to-do lists, we need to have a focus and have an understanding that everything you do, the tasks, the items on your to-do list, the time you devote to building a website or developing marketing materials, everything that you're doing around your business needs to be leading you towards your success statement. If it's not leading you towards your success statement, it's derailing your progress. So we want to make sure that we're having check-ins and we're building these action plans and kind of making a focused effort to keep yourself on track, moving from point A to point B. Always checking in and saying, is this really taking me where I want to go? You also want to be very transparent and accountable. I think sometimes we get caught up in everybody else's success stories, and it can be difficult to admit where we are right now and how frustrating it can be to not be where we want to be. So sometimes we need to just be honest with ourselves about what our goals really are. And maybe those are little goals right now. Right now it's just putting a website up, or it's just getting more consistent with social media. But whatever those goals might be transparent with yourself, be accountable to yourself, and realize that sometimes laser focus and truly being laser focused in order to take yourself from where you are now to where you want to be can mean turning down work or projects that maybe you're capable of doing. They might bring in money, but they might also be taking you in a different direction. If your goal is to be a graphic designer, then you might have the skills to build websites, but if you don't want to build websites for your business, for your main income stream, then it's probably taking time away from being able to pursue clients that are in the line of work that you want to do. So even if you're capable of doing something and it might have a financial reward, if it's derailing you from your success statement, then take an honest look if that's the direction that you want to be heading. And then make sure you're using something to keep yourself on track. I'm a big proponent of planners. We have the whole Entrepreneur system of planners that are very action focused. But whether you're using a planner, a post-it to-do list, using Google Calendar or Apple Calendar or something online, just be mindful about creating a to-do list or an action plan on a regular basis and scheduling time with yourself to check in on that. So I start out every single week sitting down, building out my plan for the week and creating a realistic list of things that I want to do. And to-do lists should not be never ending. They should be specific action-focused lists that you can accomplish in a given period of time. So if you can't tackle your to-do list in the span of a week, then it's probably too long and you need to revisit what you're trying to accomplish for the week, narrow it down, and be realistic about your goals. There's nothing more frustrating than feeling like you never ever get anywhere. So we have a roadmap planner for you that you can use to plan and map your actions. And it's going to start out asking you, where do you want to be? what's your end goal? It's where you're in a balanced place with growth and management. It's your success statement. Where do you want to be? Maybe you have something like, I want to work 30 hours a week helping entrepreneurs solve their problems through a membership site that I develop new content for on a weekly basis. That's a little bit of my success statement at the moment. It's not my 10-year success statement, but it's where I want to be right now. So this is my focus right now. And then be honest about where you are, how you're feeling, and what's holding you back. So maybe that's something like, I'm frustrated that things aren't picking up as quickly as I hoped, and I'm spending way more time than I'd planned working on launching my product. Life happens. If you are a parent, or if you've got, parents yourself, or siblings or spouses that you're taking care of, life happens, and we can get derailed by the time it takes to do a task that we thought wasn't going to take near as long. We officially launched the Mentoring You Skills Lab on October 10th, and the promotions have started, but I haven't gotten to spend near as much time as I want out doing webinars and introducing people to the tool, just because everything else kind of took over with events that were going on, both with my clients and with my personal life. So being honest about how I'm feeling is important, because I need to recognize the fact that it is frustrating that I built this really amazing product and I wanted to see it kind of kick off with a bang, and instead it's kind of slowly growing, but not quite as I had planned for it. And then think about the actions you need to take to get you to where you want to be. These are the directions on your roadmap that are going to get you to where you want to be. And they should be specific tasks. These aren't wide open activities. So for instance, spend 4 hours developing a marketing plan is much more specific than develop a marketing plan. Like, I like to limit activities like building a marketing plan or scheduling social media content to a specific number of hours, because I need to have a stop point. I need to be able to start work on something and at some point cut it off and say, this is good enough. This is good enough to get it out the door and start things moving along, or else we can absolutely get caught up in a cycle of perfectionism where it's never good enough to take to market. It's never good enough to show a customer. Everything can always be improved. And, obviously I'm not saying craft something in a few minutes that's going to have a big public impact, and don't spend the time to spell check or to have good layouts or graphics, but also realize that you shouldn't spend an unlimited amount of time on something and allow that to derail you. And then things like putting my marketing plan on autopilot using scheduling tools. I mean, these are things that I teach about all the time and I use, but I need to block time off with myself to specifically sit down for this particular frustrating issue, and put some of those pieces in place for myself. Weekly blog posts are already scheduled, creating social media graphics. I mean, these are just examples, but they need to be very specific, quantifiable activities to where you can check them off and know that you accomplished them. And then last but not least, we need to figure out what we have to stop doing to stay focused. So laser focus means that sometimes we have to say no to things that we otherwise would have wanted to do. Maybe we would have wanted to, go out and run Facebook ads, but if Facebook ads are taking you a really long time to build and develop and they're distracting you, and every time you get on Facebook, you end up in your Facebook groups, and it kind of leads you down the rabbit hole of getting lost in what you're trying to do, then maybe that's something you outsource so you can stay laser focused on your specific actions that you yourself need to take to move you in the right direction. Sometimes it's as little as saying, I will stop doing work for free for friends and family. This is an area where I personally have a big commitment issue, because I like to help out friends and family, and I like to help out new entrepreneurs who are just getting started. So I do a lot of pro bono work. But sometimes those specific tasks take me off my path. They are things that I am capable of doing, and I can help somebody out to get started, to help them get on their feet. But instead of it taking me towards my success statement, it slows me down. I hope this training was helpful for you and that you're able to grab a copy of the roadmap and start to think through some of these items for yourself. It really can be a powerful amount of time spent with yourself figuring out where you want to take your business. And once you know what your success statement is and you own up to how you're feeling and where you are right now, and we start to build out the plan for the middle part of that journey, you can start to see really good progress and change. You have a very specific, quantifiable step-by-step action plan that you can line out for yourself. And this whole process doesn't have to take very long. Again, I'm really big on setting a time limit. So set a time limit. Book an hour meeting with yourself. It's something that you would likely give a client without a second thought. So devote that time to yourself. Grab some pen and paper. Download the roadmap and step back and see how you can take yourself on a winding road to where you want to be.